The West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who is on the bipartisan committee working to come up with the deal. So let me start, Senator, with Chad's point there about semantics, about whether there would be something in this legislation that's a wall without saying it's a wall. Is that kind of what you guys are talking about, or?
Well, I think we're talking about setting aside the things we agree on: technology, more resources and personnel, and other things. And let's look where we're focusing, where our biggest disagreement in, which is obviously the wall. We had in my bill that I passed I'm the chairwoman of the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Bill. We passed a bipartisan bill in June that had $1.6 billion for pedestrian fencing. It was the way it was termed. In my view, that's a wall. In the president's view, that's a wall.
Okay.
And so I think some of it is semantics, but I think if you turn to the professionals and you look at the president's plan in conjunction with the Border Patrol folks, a wall is part of it, a barrier, some kind of vehicular obstruction.
So you think
levees,
you have a
fences,
level of
walls,
confidence
gates,
that you can get to, as Chad says, next Friday is essentially what you guys have to work with if you want to get it done by the deadline. You can get to that point with something that looks or essentially is a wall. You think you can get there?
I think we can. I think we want to. I think there's the will. We had our first committee meeting yesterday with everybody around the table. We certainly want to do it. We have seasoned appropriators on there as well to be able to move this process. They've solved hard issues before. Where I think if we could maybe be left to our own devices, I think we could do it quite easily. It's the political.
You're talking about the president, the president
and
himself,
the speaker,
and the speaker.
And the speaker.
Right. The speaker said. Well, the speaker
said
she said. Well, you know what she said, but she said, no, forget it.
Right.
No money for a wall. So your point is that's not helpful.
I believe we need a barrier, a wall, however you want to term it. They're successful where they're used in the congested areas, but it's not going to be across the United States or in large numbers. And she knows that. So I'm hoping that, her conference can convince her and we can convince the president that we're all got to win here. Let's move on.
So you're saying at the end of this, you might have to go to the president and say, listen, Mr. President, this is not $5.7 billion for a literal wall in terms of how it's written. This is X amount of money for a barrier. That's what you think you're going to have to convince him of.
In reality, the president has asked for $5.7 billion, but it's not all physical walls. Some of it is fencing, some of it's gates, some of it's levees. It's a whole different thing under border security, a large umbrella. We'll see where this leads. The president's obviously in the room already, and so is the speaker. So we're gonna work.
Last quick question: if it all doesn't work, hypothetically, would you support the president declaring an emergency?
I don't want to see it get to that. I really don't. I have serious questions about it, but I would, in all likelihood, I see the urgency of preventing illegal immigration into this country, and at the end of the day, I would probably support him declaring an emergency, yes.
Okay, Senator Capito, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.